I think Mr. Doggett has some questions
I
for
do.
Mr. Bartol.
And Mr. Chairman, I am pleased to hear you say that because I know you rejected this concept in your comprehensive bill that you presented to the committee just a few weeks ago. I do support the concept of incentivizing businesses to donate food to food banks and similar organizations, but I do have some specific questions about this bill. If I understand, a business can obtain an enhanced tax deduction for up to twice what it paid for the product that it's donating if that product qualifies.
That's correct.
And with reference to what food qualifies, under the statutory definition, it must be, quote, apparently wholesome food. Isn't that correct?
That's correct, sir.
And there is not any requirement that the food actually be wholesome or nutritional. It just has to be, quote, apparently wholesome, right?
Let me check with my colleague briefly.
Well,
I'm not sure how the IRS has interpreted that.
With reference to the statute which defines the act, isn't it correct that a bag of Halloween candy that needs to get off the shelf before Thanksgiving qualifies for this deduction?
Well, if you're asking if there's a nutritional standard in terms of sugars or fats or something.
If I might, I think I have the answer there.
Well, I
want to find in statute what apparently
yes, I've got the statute,
is.
and the statute permits to qualify for this a bag of Halloween candy that someone wants to get off the shelf before Thanksgiving, or a bag of Valentine's candy that they want to get off before they put on the sugared Easter eggs, or a squash bag of Twinkies, or a stale bag of potato chips, or a sugary soft drink that's about a year over its sell date. All of those things qualify as apparently wholesome food because there's no requirement that the food be actually wholesome. Is there in the statute, the specific words of the statutes, Mr. Barthol?
Well, Mr. Doggett, as I said, the statute does not place a nutritional standard.
Right. It calls
yes,
for
it's true.
Apparently
high
wholesome,
sugar,
not wholesome food. And in fact, at this very moment, other Republican colleagues over in the House Appropriations Committee are attempting to approve a major rollback of healthier school lunches at the time we consider expanding a subsidy for foods that are both healthy and unhealthy, at a time that we have a virtual epidemic of diabetes and increasing concern about childhood obesity. Now, this bill, if I read your green sheet correctly, comes out for an average cost of about $200 million a year. That's what we're being asked to pay for this. I don't know how much of the $200 million is stale potato chips and Twinkies and sugary drinks and candy, but a portion of it is, and I think we have to make choices as to whether we ought to be subsidizing those things or we ought to be using that to improve our schools and for other purposes. This bill is also presented as part of an apparently wholesome tax package. But in fact, the insistence on borrowing another $600 billion of business tax breaks will do our economy what Twinkies do for nutrition. I don't believe there's merit to such a broad deduction. I believe that had we gone through the normal legislative process, that there's near unanimity, at least until the chairman put out his broad tax proposal that eliminated this provision, and that for C corporations also, that there would be broad support for this, but there would be an opportunity to try to craft a more targeted deduction. Just as if we were talking about a direct spending program, we would be looking to cut out waste and inefficiency. Well, I think this is basically a good concept, but it's accompanied by considerable waste and inefficiency that we ought to be dealing with rather than writing that into permanent law as this bill does. And so I have support for the concept, but reservation about the specifics of this bill and how it not only encourages the donation of healthy food, but something that is definitely not wholesome, only appears to be, much as this bill appears to be something that will help the economy as a whole, but clearly is neither wholesome nor healthy for the American economy. And I yield back.